All right, welcome back, YouTube preppers. It's Prepping Outside the Box. I am Josh, and today we are going to touch on a little bit of cold weather survival tips. It is a very vast subject, and I am touching a little bit of it, just a little bit. Try to keep the videos short and sweet so you learn something. And some of the things I'm going to talk about are commonly known among a lot of people, and some I don't think I've ever thought of that much. But right before we get into it, if you guys would, if you like, share, subscribe if you want to see more or anything like that, it does help us grow and I really appreciate it. But without further ado, we're going to get into it. So sleeping, right? And I always point over, here's my notes right here, right? Anyways, sleeping. So first off, and I know every situation is going to dictate. So like I said, we're touching into a little bit of this. I like to go with worst case scenarios, kind of. You don't have a lot of equipment maybe, but sleep naked, right? And I say sleep naked, take off your clothes before you bed down. Hopefully you have some sort of sleeping system that you can do this in, and I would highly recommend you get some kind of a Willy Pete bag, a waterproofing bag or a bivy sack or something to put over your sleeping system, so if it does rain on you or anything like that, you stay dry. But you sleep naked, preferably, hopefully, in a sleeping bag, sleeping system, or under some kind of cover. But it's going to help you. So when you wake up in the morning, and the first thing that's going to be touching your body is going to be the elements, going to be the cold air. And we'll get back to that. Take your clothes that you have just taken off your body and throw them in your sleeping bag. And if you can't do that, there's other ways. I say separate your body from contact to the ground. Raising yourself off of it is going to keep you warmer. The ground gets cold, and it'll in turn basically make your body cold. So having some kind of an isomat, your clothing, or some kind of nature, something you can lay on, will separate you. But going back to that, take your clothing, if you're not going to be laying on them, put them in your sleeping bag. Now when you get out of your bag and you're waking up in the morning, first thing that hits you is going to be the elements. And you're going to be obviously a little cold, probably not want to get out of your sleeping system. But you get up, you get out, and as you're cold, you're going to take your warm clothing that has been heating up all night from your body heat and put them on, and it'll make you warmer in the end. It is better, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinions that have done it. It is better for you heat-wise, for your body. So if you were just sleeping all your clothing, thinking, well, I have it all on me, I'm in my sleeping bag, and I got all this, for one, you're probably sweating in it. For two, when you get out of your bag and you feel the elements, that is what you were going to feel the entire time until it heats up. That's it. So wake up naked, get dressed in your warm clothes, and you're good to go. I did say separate your body. Isomat's a good buy. But yeah, you still got nature, you still got clothes, something that can separate your contact from the ground to keep your body warmer. A huge thing is your water source. So your canteen or your bottle or whatever, don't leave it outside of where you're sleeping, right? And even if it's inside a tent, don't leave it outside the sleeping system. Put it inside your sleeping system. Sleep with it against your body. And that way, when you're sitting there and it's 28 degrees outside or something like that, you don't wake up in the middle of the night, you don't wake up in the morning, and your water source is an ice cube, and you have to wait until it melts, or you have to find a way to heat it up and do something just so you can get some of your thirst quenched. But anyways, sleep with your water source to keep it from freezing overnight. It's a huge thing, and I think some people may not have thought about that one. But yeah, sleep with it. A nice little trick I did too, talking about sleeping still, inside your little tent, your little shelter that you made, hopefully a tent, it'd be nicer. But inside your little tent, if you take like a little tin or dig a little hole, pack it in, put some hand sanitizer in it and light it on fire. For one, it's going to burn clean. It'll burn for a while, and it's a nice little flame that you zip up your tent, you close up your area you're sleeping in. It will heat up the area a little bit, but you're also heating up your extremities, your toes, your fingers, and things like that, your nose. You're heating up your body enough, maybe before you go to sleep, that's going to help you out a lot in the end. But hand sanitizer is a great thing to put in your bag or keep on your person that you can use for a heat source. Gear. And this goes, People can argue what the best is. People can argue all day long about, well, everything. But if you have the ability to get it, if you have the money to get it, obviously get the best gear you can buy for your money, especially depending on where you live. If you live in a colder environment, you probably already know all this. But anyways, if you can get it, get it. So some kind of covering for your head. Heat escapes through the head first. So having some kind of a good beanie, I mean, if all you have is a hat, you have a hat, but have something that you can wear on your head to trap some of that heat inside your body. A big takeaway also from your gear side, from your clothing side, is heat is going to leave your extremities first, right? Your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. So keeping in mind that while you're sitting there freezing outside, all this stuff that's getting cold first, it's pulling all your body basically says screw you, and it's pulling all that heat in there to keep your core and keep your stuff alive. Your body will try to survive no matter what. So finding a really good pair of gloves or something like that is going to be beneficial. Now, I will have a caveat to that. So you can buy crappy gloves, and if you do, I mean, they get cold, and then all of a sudden they're like a thermos, and they're basically keeping your hands cold, right? So they're kind of bad for you in the end, in my opinion. I know there's different ratings and things like that on gloves, but just be mindful of what you're using. And if you don't have the money for a nice pair of gloves or something that'll keep your hands nice and toasty, your pockets are huge. Well, for one, if you got a pair of jeans on or some kind of pants, you usually have pockets, unless you're just walking around in some pocketless sweatpants or yoga pants or something like that, which, sorry. But if you can, just put your hands in your pockets. It's right against your body heat. It almost instantly warms them up. And the only downfall of it really is you can't use your hands if they're in your pockets. You can't really defend yourself and things like that. So obviously it's not ideal if you're looking at constantly being busy. But if you're just sitting there, if you're hunkered down for the night or doing something like that, throw your hands in your pockets. It'll keep them warm, I promise you. Most people know this, and I'll end on gear with this, but a great pair of socks, a really good pair of boots, even if it's a pair of boots that you just put like a gator sleeve on or something like that for the winter and take it off for the summer or something, but a good pair of boots and a really good pair of socks are huge. Your feet will get cold so fast in a regular pair of boots, and as you cannot feel your toes, you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you can save up, go out and get a good pair of socks that you keep for the winter time and stow in your bag and things like that for those cold periods, and just buy yourself a good pair of boots. Break them in too. It's key you break in your gear. I will say that you are going to feel your coldest when the sunrise happens. So when you wake up, probably not at the crack of noon, but when you wake up in the morning, maybe you wake up just before sunrise, you got to move, you got to get on the move, break down your tent, whatever it is. When you wake up, as the sun's rising, it's all that heat is pushing that cold air down, and it's literally just refrigerating the earth, you know what I mean? So you are going to be your coldest at that point. It will heat up during the day, but you might have to suck it up a little bit. That's why we use those other things, talking about sleeping naked and putting on your warm clothing. It helps combat things like that. And obviously sleeping with your water source. Going back, it does get colder and colder throughout the night up until the morning. So you want to make sure that stuff doesn't ice over. Anyways, losing track. The two biggest things you're going to have to worry about, in my opinion, and feel free to jump in the comments for everything I'm saying and combat me. It's I don't know everything. I know some things. But wind and wetness, I think, is going to be your biggest enemy. By wetness instead of water, I'm saying because of sweat and things like that. So be mindful of what you're wearing, what you're doing to your own body, making yourself sweat and things like that. But wind and wetness, I think, will be your biggest enemies during cold weather. So making sure that your shelter blocks that, making sure, like I was saying before, having a Willie Pete or a Biggie sack or something like that for your sleeping system, I think is huge, and it'll be beneficial to you in the end. And if all else fails, spoon your friends. We all know that one. Just remember to be big spoon. Unless, you have some insecurities, and you can be a little spoon and feel better. But anyways, it's Prepping Outside the Box. I'm Josh, and I will be with you tomorrow.